Hello, this is your video instruction for the elaboration technique of dialogue. So we have talked about explaining in precise details, providing definitions, facts, or statistics, giving an example, using imagery with sensory language, the five senses, and using figurative language. So now we're going to take a look at strategy number 6, which is adding dialogue. So dialogue is when characters are speaking to each other. In your personal narrative, you may have dialogue. It's not going to be a lot. You're not going to have a big, long conversation. You might only have one or two pieces of dialogue. But dialogue is good to add to your personal narrative because, once again, you're putting the reader into your shoes. So they are actually hearing, using their senses, hearing the discussion or the talk that's what somebody has said to you. So an example, we have a really simple sentence here. My brother could be pretty mean. So by giving an example of how mean he is, it helps to create a more complete picture for your reader. He looked at me with a scowl and asked, "What are you wearing? It looks like 10 clowns threw up on you." So notice that you've got the dialogue tag. He looked at me with a scowl and asked. That's a tag because it's telling you who is speaking, he, and what type of speaking they're doing. Could be whispering, it could be shouting, could be just saying, in this case, asking. You've got the comma after the asked, open quotation marks, and then what he said, period, and then close the quotation marks. So another way you could use is by using thoughts. Specifically, it's going to be your thoughts because this is your personal narrative. Maybe you didn't say something, but you thought to yourself. So an example of instead of saying I was pretty mad, by giving an example of what you were thinking, again, that puts the readers into your shoes. I thought to myself, comma, I'm going to strangle you in your sleep. Now, notice that my thoughts were in italics. It's set aside. It's different than quotation, a dialogue, because a dialogue would have quotation marks showing that I'm saying something. I'm not saying this out loud. I'm thinking silently to myself. So that's why you want to put any thoughts that you include in italics to set it apart from the regular text. It's showing that it's different than a regular text, but it's not a quotation mark. So if in your personal narrative, there is a place where you can add an example of dialogue, maybe one or two lines of something that somebody said to you, or if you want to share your thoughts, you would put them in italics.